O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. Zach Brown's Southern Grind Knives. Only the best make the cut. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. True Turn Hooks, hook more fish. Roadrunner Lures, outfishing ordinary lures since 1959. Crocodile Bay Lodge, Costa Rica's best fishing and resort destination. And by O'Neill's new Real Gun and Marine Oils, naturally the best.
Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder Headquarters and the Bojangles Studio high on Sassafras Mountain. CDA presents Real Tree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. Welcome, everyone, from the Bojangles Studio high in the mountains of North Georgia. This is O'Neill Outside. Very special program today. We have visitors from the Department of Natural Resources in Georgia, and there's lots to learn, and I hope you'll stick around. Let me tell you, the telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and across the country on the SB Nation and wherever WSB 750 and 95.5 that you can hear us would be 800-972-8255. It's my obligation and pleasure to tell you that this program is brought to you every Saturday morning by the Whitetail Institute, Wild Game Food Plot Seeds, Hayes Auto Dealerships, Tough Shed, Striplings, Works Tools, True Turn Hooks, Roadrunner Lures, the Governor's Gun Club in Kennesaw, Georgia, O'Neill's Gun Oils, Real Lubes, and Deck Cleaners, Snellville Heating and Air, Zach Brown's Southern Grind Knives, Timbuktu, and Fisher's Choice Baits, Bodyplex in Alpharetta and Jasper, O'Neill's Outside People and Places Along the Way, and Rush Creek Guide Service. So at 7 after the hour, I'll have with us today some Department of Natural Resources people. This is one of the best shows that you hear. We do this 2 times a year with very, very special guests. I want you to stay there throughout the program. Woman Williams is here off camera, but she can watch, listen, read your comments on Facebook at O'Neill Outside. So we've got a busy morning. It's my pleasure and privilege to ask you to watch O'Neill Outside television on the Pursuit Channel, Fox Sports Southeast, Fox Sun, Fox Arizona, and VOD or Video On Demand networks across the country. So we'll get to all this when we return. This is going to be a really good show, and you need to stick with us. 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. It's the opening day of the weekend, the youth season for turkeys in Georgia, and the big season starts next Saturday, and we have a springtime of turkey season to discuss, and we'll be back. Good morning, all. Welcome to the program. We have with us today, and I'm proud to introduce to you Julie Rushton. She is a wildlife biologist, turkey, and in charge of the Turkey Project coordinator. Are you not, Julie?
Yeah, Emily Rushton.
I don't know why I call you Julie. I've started out.
It's fine. I'll answer to it.
Okay, so Emily is with us this morning, Emily Rushton. So before we get to the other ragtag guests we have, let's let Emily tell us her credentials, if you will. Why should the audience be listening to you this morning?
Well, I've been with the Department of Natural Resources about 6 years. I was a private lands biologist before we created this turkey biologist position. Mm-hmm. We've actually never had a dedicated turkey biologist with DNR before. It's been handled by our region biologists, but with the attention being paid to turkey now, we've got a dedicated biologist. And I went to the University of Georgia for bachelor's and master's. Go Dogs. So I'm from the state of Georgia, so I'm happy to work with our turkey population here.
Well, you're a native. Well, we'll entertain questions from you today for the audience. And Shane is a Ranger First Class. Where do you live, Shane?
So I'm from Dahlonega, currently assigned Lumpkin County here in the mountains, born and
Okay.
raised. Love it.
Got a quite a territory to cover too, don't you?
Oh, we do. Our work section, 6 counties, half of Lake Lanier, Chattahoochee River.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
Oh boy. There's not enough of you guys. So let's get to it at 13 after the hour. We're going to entertain questions from the audience this morning and my own. And let's let me start, okay, with Emily, and by asking, what about the turkey population in Georgia? Up, down, steady, and why?
Well, the past 10 years or so, we've been seeing decreased hunter success, decreased reproduction, not just in Georgia, pretty much all the states in the southeast. And so that's leading us to believe that our turkey population is down a bit. What we do every year is we do a survey in the summer where we measure the number of poults per hen, and that gives us an index of reproduction and tells us, if our population is growing or decreasing. And the past few years, ever since about early 2000s, it's decreased. 2017 was actually one of the lowest years we've had, so we're concerned about our turkey population, and we haven't really pinpointed a smoking gun why it's decreasing, but it's probably a number of factors.
I see. Now, we might qualify your statements this morning, and you alluded to it just for a moment. What you say about Georgia pretty well leads us to the same thing across the southeast.
Right, yeah.
As long as it's the eastern wild turkey.
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Well, but we don't know why it's going down, but it is, the population.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't know if, just to give a little history on wild turkey, we, from the 70s to about the mid-90s, we were involved in some really intensive restoration. We trapped turkeys across Georgia and moved them into areas of suitable habitat. So we were really helping the population boom. So we're not really sure if this decrease in reproduction is just because the population's sort of steadying out from years and years of an increase, or
I see.
it could be it's probably a combination of a lot of things, a change in habitat. As you know, the human population of Georgia has increased a lot, so we've lost some habitat to development. These changes across the state are probably leading to a decrease in all the habitat types that a turkey needs. So.
Well, that's an easy explanation because we're losing habitat all the time, so that very well may be that.
It's an easy explanation, but not an easy fix, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine. We need to get rid of some of these humans and stop the development. So, good answer. So we've the population after years of growth is steadied out and even declining a little bit. Am I about right? And that's probably for the whole southeast.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me, before I get to Shane, this surprise question, what's the difference between an Eastern and a Rio?
Well,
Ooh. Rio's so much easier to hunt.
they are. Yep. Well, I haven't actually hunted Rios, but I can tell you Easterns are pretty smart. They, with such a little brain, they sure can outsmart humans. That's
Okay.
for sure.
One other question before I get to Shane then, at 17 after the hour, and that's this. What is the trigger that causes or initiates the the breeding season for the eastern wild turkey?
Well, a lot of people think it's weather, but really it's photo period. It's which is fancy word for, how much daylight, we have. So when the days start getting longer, that is what triggers it, especially in hens. Gobblers can be swayed a little bit by weather, but hens really, their main trigger is going to be the amount of daylight.
Okay. I ask that every time that we do one of these things, and I say that over and over and over and over again because I want people to understand. People will call me and say, "Hey, it's going to be cold. Boy, that's going to kick off the breeding season." No, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with it. It may have some activity, but that's it. Welcome to the program. I appreciate you getting up so early and helping us out. Yes, ma'am.
Before we leave her, someone already wants to know about is the coyote population.
Ooh.
Is that part of the reason we're seeing the less turkeys?
Well, predators in general in Georgia have increased, in part due to changes in habitat, and coyotes certainly have increased in Georgia. They're in every county of the state now. But we're actually doing some research with UGA, and they're GPSing turkeys. They have GPS transmitters on turkeys, GPS transmitters on coyotes, and they're looking at those interactions. And they haven't finished the research yet. It's still going on. But what we're seeing is that the coyotes don't have as much influence as other factors on turkey population. They're not a huge nest predator, and they don't really depredate the adults either. But that's definitely something we're still looking at.
I can't imagine a coyote catching a wild turkey.
No, I don't. I don't know that they catch the adults. They probably will scavenge or ingest the eggs if they come across the nest, if they happen to. But it's going to be more coincidental.
I see. Good explanation. I appreciate that input. Now, that question came in over Facebook, did it not? At
Correct.
O'Neill Outside?
Correct.
So we'll entertain your questions there. Let me rack this thing up there. I'm still having the same trouble with my...
oh, boy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well.
Do we have any callers, Corey? You'll have to tell me if we do. All right, let's since it's almost 21 after the hour, let's jump into Tim and entertain his question. Welcome, Tim. You'll have to bring him up, Cody. I'm sorry. Oh man, I've lost. I lost
he says you're
everything
on.
now.
He says you're there.
All right, Tim, are you there, sir? No.
Maybe not.
Okay. We'll bring it up if we can. It's almost 21 after the hour. When we return here in just a moment, let me give you the telephone numbers, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255, and we will chat with Shane and entertain some questions about his role as a officer with the Department of Natural Resources and some recommendations he might make that makes it safer and a fewer violations, if you will, as during the day. You work 6 or 7 days a week now.
Can't tell you that.
Good for you. Okay, this is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside. Our guests are Emily Rushton and Shane Brown, and we have more outdoors headed your way in just a few seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I want to introduce to you now Ranger First Class Shane Brown. So, Shane, let's get to your role here over the turkey season. What do you do every day? Chase down people who are violating wild game laws?
Yes, sir, pretty much. While other folks are out hunting turkeys, we're out making sure they're doing it the right legal, moral, ethical way.
Okay, good deal. Now, what's the chief violation that you run across, and what kind of a recommendation would you make to the average turkey hunter over this season?
Probably normally is a license violation. You know, somebody lets their license expire, forgets to check it.
Mm-hmm.
With baiting becoming legal for deer, I think we're probably going to see a increase in people hunting turkeys over bait because they've got their feeders on their clubs now.
Okay.
Forget that they've got corn in it, or don't realize that turkeys are still illegal to hunt over bait.
Okay, so you come upon somebody by recommendation and they got the corn feeder running and they're turkey hunting in April. They can't say, well, I'm just deer hunting.
That's right.
It doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work that way.
That's right. Oh, my goodness, there need to be more of you guys out there, sure enough. How long have you been with the DNR?
So I've been with DNR a little over 6 years now.
Uh-huh.
And luckily got to stay in my home territory. So.
Okay. Well, let's divert from the turkey season just for a moment. And what would you say to these neighborhood people here in the mountains that are feeding the bears?
Oh, Lord. Just remember that you're giving a free meal to these animals, and they expect that. So when you cut those free meals off, they're going to be knocking on your door saying, hey, where's my free meal? So be careful what you do with them. opportunistic feeders, so they're going to keep coming as long as the food's there.
I guess black bear's an omnivore, isn't he? He eats anything and everything.
Literally anything.
Anything and everything. And he's done quite nicely since the last ice age, which was 11,000 years
That's
ago.
right.
We do not need to feed them, do we?
We do not need to feed them. There's plenty of food there, and if there's not, that's Mother Nature's way of keeping the population in check.
In check, that is
check.
right. All right, let's go to help me out with this here. I just lost my picture. Help me out, Corey, and connect me there with Tim. Can you do that?
Tim's on the line.
Okay, Tim.
Hey, Odell.
Hey, Tim. Good morning.
Hey, Odell. How you doing?
Good.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I'm out here feeding chickens out here in Wilkes County and Greene County. I listen to you every Saturday morning.
Thank you.
I was just calling. I didn't know you was going to have a turkey show today, but I was just you always say, take a kid fishing, take a kid do this, hunting and all. I remember when I was a kid, we used to go in the creek to get pennywinkles out of the creeks. I don't know the term name for those, but it was so exciting to turn the leaves over one by one to see if there's a pennywinkle, or and sometimes there would be a surprise of a crawfish there every once in a while. I was just wondering if you ever done that, and what time period is it that you can get them? I think it's about time right now, is it not?
Yes, it is. Everything's blossoming now, so to speak. Your fall critters are fading, but it's springtime. So, yes, spend some time in the creeks, in the woods with your kids, and it turned out all right for you, and you remember it, so pass it along.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your show.
You bet. You bet. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. There we go. Corey helped me out by dropping that call right there. There we go. So 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Let's stick with Shane just for a moment. What kind of recommendations, other than having a correct license? Okay. Other than having a correct license. All right, I'm not over corn, and I'm not over bait, and I'm turkey hunting. So what's the other biggest violation, if you will, or what should we be careful of as a deer hunter? Pardon me, as a turkey hunter.
Well, just property boundaries. Make sure you've got permission where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's several apps now that you can get on your phone, HuntWise, HuntStand, that can pretty much show you to a GPS location where property boundaries are,
Okay.
and even who owns those properties. So the excuse of I don't know where the property boundary is slowly diminishing these days.
I would imagine so. So make sure you're fully licensed and own the piece of property you are supposed to be on.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, where is it that most of the time that you will run into someone that you need to give a citation? Because of that we just discussed, or on somebody else's property?
That's a big deal. The landowner's calling, hey, I got some folks on my property that
I
I don't
see.
want here, that I didn't give permission to, you know, that kind
And
of
they're
thing.
carrying guns.
Oh, exactly.
They're carrying guns.
Exactly.
No kidding. So this baiting, baiting for turkeys, I could see that to be a real problem.
You know, it started during deer season because it was legal to hunt deers, but it wasn't bear. So if you're sitting in your stand and a bear comes along and you're, you know, overlooking your feeder and you kill the bear, well, that's illegal.
Yeah.
So it rolls right into turkey season. You still got corn in your feeder. You're wanting to keep the deer fed year round.
Mhm.
Then here comes Mr. Turkey.
Well, you know, I get a lot of calls. People say, "Now we're not teaching kids anything because we're not teaching them how to hunt. We're teaching them how to hunt over corn."
That's exactly right. The old mentality of teaching them to get out and look for sign and how to find where the animals are using natural food. People don't teach that anymore. A lot of them don't know.
Yeah, that's the downside. Upside is at least they're in the woods,
That's right.
and that's good.
Yes,
But we can fine tune that, can we not?
we can.
Absolutely.
And the National Turkey Wildlife Federation, NWTF, partners doing mentored hunts for kids, and those guys really spend some time teaching them the sign to look for turkeys, the droppings, the tracks, you know, where they might roost in a white pine thicket or hemlocks or whatever. They do a great job of that.
Well, I've always said that you need, it's an obligation of a hunter and fisherman to belong to at least 2 voluntary wildlife organizations. and the Wild Turkey Federation is when you need to be there.
Oh, it's great.
The
If
other
you're a
one's QDMA.
If you're a turkey hunter, you need to be a part of those guys.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The more you know, the better you can possibly become, and the more successful you can become as a turkey hunter, the more you know. Just like deer hunting is not, well, let's just drive out and get in the stand.
They take hunting into killing, and it's not the same thing. Just going out and harvesting an animal is great, but it's about experiencing the outdoors. Been there before daylight, hearing the first crow, hearing the owl hoot, hearing the gobblers, first gobble of the morning. That's what it's about.
Oh, yes, indeed. I learned to turkey hunt from a fellow by the name of Roscoe Reams, and every time I hunted with Roscoe, successfully every time, he never called more than 3 times.
A lot of the easterns in the mountains here, that's you call too much, they'll go the other way.
Oh, absolutely. You
That's
run them
crazy.
off.
That's right.
Sure enough. So, all right, over the course of the turkey season, how many instances will you have of violations in which you give warnings or citations?
It varies. It really does from year to year. 1 year may be up, 1 year down. As far as whether somebody gets a warning or citation, it's case-by-case scenario. What violations are occurred, how many violations, was their intent there? Did the guy just forget to update his license, or did he legit say, well, I'll wait and spend that money if I kill a bird? I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to each officer in each case scenario.
Well, it's a constant game between you and all these hunters. How many hunters will we have in the woods next week for the beginning of the turkey season?
Well, I don't know the numbers on a week-by-week basis, but last year we had about 45,000 turkey hunters in Georgia over the course of the season, and most of our birds were killed in the first 2 weeks. So there will be a lot of people in the woods next weekend.
Oh my goodness! But now the youth season begins this Saturday. Today,
Starts this morning, that's right.
this morning. Give us the details on the youth season. Give me the qualifications.
So basically, I think it now is actually called a special opportunity hunt. So
Okay.
kids or somebody that's maybe disabled has an opportunity to hunt. Must be supervised by an adult, and it's private property only. There's no state or federal lands unless otherwise posted that you're allowed to do that.
Okay. Here at Three Falls Cabin, our little piece of property adjoins the Dawson Forest. How big is the Dawson Forest? And there's a lot of turkeys there, aren't there, Emily?
Well,
Yeah, sorry.
Please.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but Dawson Forest is in our assigned area, and it's 25,000 acres, and I have seen a ton of turkeys on this place. So
I see them anytime I'm outside here leaving the property, and I always see a drove of turkeys.
there's plenty of turkeys on
Always.
Dawson Forest. Plenty.
It's fun to blow the horn and they'll gobble.
They will.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They will.
Stop. Hey, there they are. Oh, gobble, gobble, gobble. They can gobble like crazy. So, 25,000 acres. Are there for turkey hunting, deer, and everything? Emily, are we utilizing the wildlife management areas? You think?
Well, I mean, there's certainly a lot of areas that are underutilized. We've got huge national forests, and really, I think it's not so much acreage that's getting underutilized, but it's the timing. There's turkey season. We have one of the longest turkey seasons in the country, and most of the hunters are out the first couple weekends, and then they don't go out. And you have all of April and half of May, and the birds are still out there. They're still gobbling. Once those hens are on their nests, the gobblers will start talking again. So
Yeah, they're getting lonely. If you get an answer at 2 in the afternoon, unless you foul up, he's yours.
That's right.
Yeah, just don't get too aggressive. Just be nice and easy. Call a couple of times, and we're going to talk about the quality of turkey calling and more of the subjects in which that you're in charge of when we get back. This is O'Neill, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255, and you can be in touch with us also on Facebook at O'Neill Outside, and we'll be back. In case you just joined us this morning, a very special O'Neill Outside. program for you this morning. We have Emily Rushton. She's a wildlife turkey biologist and in charge of the turkey, what will we call it, the project coordinator. And we have Shane Brown, who is a Ranger First Class, and we're sticking with the subject as best we can about turkey hunting, law violations, how to stay legal, where to hunt, where not to hunt, and to learn more about the wild turkey. So before we go further, let's go ahead and let's bring up Jim is calling on line number 1 on O'Neill outside. Good morning, Jim. You're on the radio.
Hey, this is Gene. How you doing this morning?
All right, good, Gene.
Hey, listen, got a question. I was listening to the young lady talk about the coyote population, and I've noticed over the years, at least the last 3 years, I've seen some hens with nests, and on my trail cam, I did see a coyote actually kill the hen. And as I was out in the woods yesterday, I saw where, I would say either coyote or fox had killed another hen. And I do think the coyote population is a problem when it comes to the depletion of the turkeys. Maybe they might want to do a little more research. But from my personal observation, coyotes were the number one culprit in killing hens on my property.
Okay.
All
Emily,
right.
would you like to comment, please?
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly they're an opportunistic predator, and if they come across a hen, then, and when she's sitting on her nest, that's the most vulnerable time of year for her. And when she's most likely to, get eaten. So, I mean, I don't doubt it. They absolutely are predators, but, we've got some ongoing research with UGA, and there's a whole suite of issues going on with turkey populations, but, coyotes certainly are part of the puzzle, which is why we're looking at them and why we're tracking them on some of our management areas. So, thanks for that. I definitely agree.
Gene, next time you see that, kill them.
No, well, to be honest, I shot one out my back door yesterday.
Oh, good
to
for
get
you.
my dog.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I drop them like a bad habit. But thank you so much for taking my call, and young lady, keep up the good work. We need you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling, sir. You bet. All right, what were we going to talk about? I'm lost. Oh, was it the property lines and the apps
The
you
apps.
could get?
The two that I use is Hunt Stand and HuntWise. I know Emily was talking about a different one. There's dozens of apps out there, and tax maps that overlays on Google Earth, and numerous ways to get who owns the property and a pretty good idea of where the boundaries are.
Okay, good. As far as people that our interested hunters and people who are going to go out for that turkey, after the first couple of weeks, your research tells you that they stop turkey hunting, huh?
Well, they don't stop. We've got some serious hunters who will be out there almost every day of turkey season. But, it's our turkey season, like I said, it's one of the longest in the country. And, after those first couple of weeks, harvest really drops. And there are still turkeys in the woods. So,
I think
make
the
sure you're
last 2
utilizing
weeks are the
all
best
those
time.
days. As long as it's not too hot.
Because the hens are on the nest, gobblers are lonesome, and if you can get one to gobble about 2 in the afternoon, you're in for some action unless you get up and move around.
Yep.
How about that?
Definitely.
So, all right, what are some of the projects, Emily, that you're working on that's going to help with the turkey hunting and turkey population? Give me a little bit of an overview.
Well, we have quite a few surveys that we do every year. We measure how many hours hunters spend in the woods. We have a really good group of hunters that have been volunteering their hunt data to us for years, and we can see, how many hours it takes them to see a bird, how many hours it takes them to harvest a bird, and that gives us an idea of, how many gobblers are in the woods. We also, like I said earlier, we've got our poult survey that we do, our reproductive survey every summer, where we measure the number of poults per hen, and that gives us an idea of how many poults are surviving, how many are hatching, and then how many are surviving long enough to make it through the summer. Because once they make it through the first couple weeks, usually they have a better chance of survival. And we also have some research going on with UGA. We've got several students on wildlife management areas down in the Piedmont, where we're looking at, they're looking at gobbling, how hunting is affecting gobbling. They've got song meters out where they're actually recording gobbles and measuring how many birds are gobbling and when. They've got GPS transmitters on birds. They're going to see where these males are moving. They're actually going to give some hunters that have volunteered to hold GPS units too, to see where the gobblers are moving when the hunters are in the woods, and see if the hunting affects them. Yep.
And where would an interested turkey hunter, where would he retrieve this information? The results of that information.
Well, we're hoping, at the end of the season to maybe get some preliminary results. We always post updates on this research on our Facebook page, our Wildlife Resources Division page. We have a blog, news releases. So we've got numerous ways that we try to get this information out to hunters. So.
Oh boy, that's terrific. You have to look at everything long term.
Right. This study is in the second or third year of at least, and we got at least 2 more years to go. So.
I see. Well, people ask me frequently, what do I think about what the DNR does? And my answer is, whatever they are doing, I'm 100% for it. I 100% believe it. They know, they're scientists. It's not turkey camp or deer camp gossip. It's not.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We all do.
Sure enough. You have something on Facebook, honey?
Not right now.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's chat now with Jim about turkey hunting. And Jim is calling from Monroe, I believe. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Professor O'Neill. I appreciate the fellow getting on there and the young lady getting on there with y'all.
Good. Thank you.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Because I know we've got limited time.
You bet.
I know today is the hunt for kids and the other people that are with children.
Okay.
Is that also not only on WMAs, but is that also on private lease property too? That's my first question.
It's private property unless otherwise posted. There's probably a few WMAs across the state that allow it. We don't have any in the area we're at here.
Okay.
So it's private property only.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Now, number 2 question. Sometimes when I hunt, I do see coyotes. Is it legal for me to have a center firearm while hunting with a shotgun for turkeys in the event that I do see a hog or a coyote?
Good question. Shane?
If you're on private property, absolutely 100% legal, and get rid of those coyotes. If you're on either state or federal property, then you must harvest that coyote with whatever's in season, so it would be shotgun only for the turkeys.
Okay. Good answer.
All right, sir.
Good
I
question.
appreciate it. Thank y'all very much for your time and your service. And I do appreciate what y'all do, even though sometimes y'all think we don't, but we do. We really
Good
appreciate
deal.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor O'Neill. You have a good day.
I appreciate that comment. Good luck to you this season. You bet. 49 after the hour. Now let's chat with John. He's calling from Peachtree City, I think. John, good morning. This is O'Neill. You're on the air.
Good morning, and thank you. Quick question. I'm hunting a 60-acre piece of property, private property, for hogs and coyotes. Been seeing a lot of turkey. Was interested in taking my son, but is there a limit or a distance that you can be from a feeder and still be legal?
Ooh, boy, good question.
So we always revert back to the old 200 yards out of sight deal. That way there's no chance that you could take or harvest that animal from that distance. So I would
200 yards.
200 yards out of sight.
Okay.
200 yards from the feeder, you can shoot a bird.
Yeah,
and
and
be
out
out
of
of sight
sight.
of it.
You can't be in sight of the feeder.
Gotcha. Last question is: do you think the hogs affect the turkey hatch?
Ooh, does hogs affect the turkey population?
Well, they, as far as like direct, nest predation or anything like that, doubtful. But they definitely compete for resources. They also can alter habitat. They, cause a lot of disturbance in areas that they come in, and Yeah, they're just generally an overall nuisance. And, you know, not only with habitat disturbance, just direct disturbance of the birds themselves.
Yes.
So they're, you know, they come in. I know anyone who's planted a food plot and then had hogs come in is
Oh yeah.
probably knows
I
how
can-
much of a nuisance they are.
I
so
can testify they can ruin a hunt. They can
Yep.
ruin a turkey hunt.
Yep. So
Turkey bird up right on
Yeah.
your way, and then you hear the hogs coming, and the turkey turns and he leaves.
But yeah, they, you know, just the way they can, their population can explode in an area, they can definitely be compete for resources.
Oh yeah, they are, and they are prolific. Oh my goodness.
They will, yes, they can. They have babies year round. I wish that turkeys could breed as well as hogs could.
Yeah, no kidding. So, okay, good question. Good question, John.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Stay in touch with us more often, sir. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Nationwide, Seattle to California to Maine to South Florida. This is O'Neill Outside on the SB Nation and WSB AM 750 and 95.5 FM, and of course on Facebook also. And if you missed the show, it'll be on YouTube by Monday, I think, or something of that nature. So let's talk further about this. Mix it up on the turkey project with the hogs, okay? And this will involve both of you. Is hogs a year-round target?
Yes, sir.
He's open year-round.
Yes,
isn't
sir. Get rid of them. They're bullies.
Yeah, yes, they are bullies. See that one? Well, you can't see it because of the light. That was a 500-pounder.
Wow.
Yeah. I took that thing in South Georgia almost by accident. I was leaving the woods, and he walked out in front of me. And I got out and made good use of my time, so to speak. And then I dressed him out in the back of the truck. Oh, man, what a mess.
What a mess.
Oh, boy. So, yes, ma'am.
Do we have time for a question?
We have not really, but let's talk about it anyway, and then I'll get to it after.
Well, I believe it. I'm having a little trouble understanding it, but I believe it refers back to what you can carry into the woods when you're deer hunting in order to carry, I mean, any kind of hunting, in order to shoot coyotes. If you're have a legal carry permit, can you take a handgun or a larger caliber handgun on a WMA? Does that sound right?
So if you've got a carry permit, then absolutely you can carry a handgun with you at any time.
Mm-hmm.
What they're trying to keep people from doing is taking a long gun in there, quote, coyote hunting and shooting a turkey with it. And that's why when you're on state or federal property, you have to harvest them with whatever's in season. So if
I see.
Turkeys are in season, it's legal to have a shotgun. Coyote comes through or a hog comes through, you shoot them with a shotgun.
Okay.
If it's deer season, you got a long gun, then you harvest them with those.
Okay.
But that's only on WMA or federal property. If you're on private property, take your shotgun and your rifle and have at it.
All right. I'm going to ask this question, and we'll get to the answer when we get back. What about a muzzleloader? A muzzleloader bullet to hunt turkeys in Georgia. Okay, we'll get to that. This is O'Neill. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to O'Neill Outside. We have with us today Emily Rushton and Shane Brown, and I have a question for Shane in connection with the firearms that are legal for turkey hunting. Can I use a muzzleloader with a bullet for turkey hunting?
Muzzleloaders, bow and arrow, shotguns.
Okay.
For the turkeys.
So I can shoot a turkey with a bullet if I wanted to. And I have, but okay. Well, that's good. And we touched on, we'll probably maybe repeating ourselves, but it's all right. However, if you have a carrying permit, you can carry a pistol into the woods with your shotgun for turkey hunting.
You can carry it with you for personal protection. You just can't use it to harvest a bird.
Use it to harvest a bird.
Right. That's absolutely right.
Okay. I had something else in the short period of time we have for Emily, and that is license fees have gone up. Thank goodness. Haven't they? How long has it been?
For the first time since 1992, we were lagging behind in the southeast as far as license fees, and and then luckily that bill passed in 2017, and we've already done quite a bit with the increase in license fees. The revenue we've gotten from it, I think we've got a lot more law enforcement officers coming on.
Good.
We've increased our road maintenance on our wildlife management areas, increased access. I know that was a big thing that a lot of people really wanted to increase access on our WMAs. We're improving our shooting ranges, opening some new shooting ranges. So that's these are all things that the public expressed that they wanted to be done with these license fee increase, and so we've hired some new technicians too. And actually, my position now is a new position, so thank you for purchasing your licenses.
I wish it won't, but I would wish that more of our tax monies, permits, license fees were more directly used for the purpose that we were charged.
Well, luckily, with wildlife management, there's an act that was passed, 100 years ago, maybe, the Pittman-Robertson Act, that taxes on all your hunting and fishing equipment goes directly back to the states. There's a 3-to-1 match with state revenue. So when you purchase, your guns and ammo and archery equipment, it all goes right back to wildlife management. So.
I got you. We got to go. This is O'Neill. We'll be back with another hour of Outdoors. We have a very special show today because we have Emily Rushton. She's a wildlife biologist, turkey biologist, and we have with us also Shane Brown, who is a Ranger First Class, and we're talking turkey hunting and law enforcement over the remaining hour of O'Neill Outside, and we hope that you'll join us at 404-872-0750, or outside the Atlanta calling area is 800-972-8255, with stations from Seattle to Southern California to Maine to the tip of Florida, and we hope you'll give us a call. This is O'Neill and Shane and Emily, and we're here to answer your calls or entertain your observations as we go along. So take note of the numbers again, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. And you can be in touch also with us on Facebook at O'Neill Outside. So I think we're tuned in to the SB Nation, Facebook, and everything else all at once, maybe. Or maybe we have some technical problems. I really don't know. Are we all right with you, Corey? Oh, boy. We're all right. So there we go. So let's return to some of our questions that we asked in the first hour of the program. Those of you who have joined us now, and we'll get to that in a moment. Be sure that now we're talking turkey hunting and law enforcement in Georgia, and these answers apply, trust me, these answers apply also to the eastern wild turkey as he resides all over the southeast. So it's Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the mountains, even as far as up in Kentucky. Probably the eastern has a fantastic range. We'll be back, I promise. This is O'Neill. Welcome back. You're listening to O'Neill Outside, #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world. And today we have with us Emily Rushton, a turkey coordinator and biologist, and Shane Brown, who is a wildlife officer, if you will. And so what was I about to great question over Facebook just for a moment ago, and that is for you, Shane. Why don't you have to wear orange in the woods when you're turkey hunting?
Well, if you did, the turkey would never get close enough because he can see that.
That's right.
So another good point with that is, a turkey's head is red, white, and blue, and any shades in between. So it's recommended that you don't wear red, white, and blue, or even black, because somebody could mistake you for a turkey.
Good idea. Good comment. But he can see colors very plainly.
Very plainly. He wouldn't get within a half a mile of an orange vest.
That's exactly right. Well, with that in mind then, how do you get away with it with deer hunting?
Well, deer are mostly colorblind. They can see a few shades of certain things, and deer look at it more like that's not supposed to be there, where a turkey looks at it and can see the colors and the movement just spot on.
Oh yeah, if he had a good sense of smell, we would never.
If
kill
he had a
eastern
bear's
wild
nose,
turkey.
you would never kill him.
No, he wouldn't get within a mile of
That's
you.
right.
That's right. But the wearing of camo for deer hunting. I have friends who wear traditional clothing, blue jeans and a check flannel shirt. They just don't move.
That's the biggest thing, even with turkey hunting. My great-grandfather used to kill turkeys every spring, and he didn't have any camo. He wore overalls every day, long sleeve flannel shirt, and found him a spot to hide and just sit still.
Yeah, just be still.
Be
Don't
still.
move.
That's it.
My son-in-law, his name is Tim, and he's a turkey hunter, and he actually sat still one day while a hen stepped over his foot while he was sitting at the bottom of a tree.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Yeah, wow.
I bet you could hear his heart beating.
She probably could.
Yeah.
She probably
I
could.
can't imagine. I've been close by, but not like that.
No, I don't know that I'd want to be that close, because if you spooked her, she might decide to flog you.
That's exactly right. I made reference earlier that the more you know, the more you understand, the better turkey hunter you have the capability of being, and the better observant you can be as to the rules and regulations for your side of this program right here. So, what from both of you, what recommendations do you have for reading about turkey hunters, either an author, a book, or magazines?
I would say anything that the NWTF puts out or endorses, because those are guys that enjoy the outdoors, but they put all their focus on just the turkey. I mean, one of my good friends is the chapter president for Lumpkin Dawson, and of course he deer hunts and he fishes, but turkey hunting's his thing. I mean, that's where he puts his time and effort. So if they endorse it, I'm sure it would be a good read or good information.
Emily?
Yeah, I'll second that. They have, I mean, if you go on their website too, they have books they recommend, and just reading their magazine and reading all their articles, and talking to other hunters too is just there's nothing.
Turkey
second to
seminars
that.
are worthwhile going to because they're conducted by turkey hunters usually. Okay, my recommendation is that for turkey hunting, to capture the romance of the turkey hunt and the romance of the Old South over a long period of time, we should be reading Tom Kelly, the 10th Legion, and all of his books, because he's a master now. Tom's about 90 years old now.
Wow.
But his books, especially the 10th Legion, is a cult book. That's a cult favorite, is the 10th Legion. Yes, ma'am, you have something from Facebook?
We already answered the orange question.
Okay.
Did we not?
That we did.
Okay. Then, no, we're caught up.
Okay. All right. What special? Let's see. I had something here on my list. Okay. Here's something. How is it, or why is it, and what's the result when we have controlled burns during the springtime when the turkeys are nesting?
Well, yeah, we get this question a lot. People concerned about burning during turkey season, during turkey nesting season. And first, I'll just say that prescribed burning is probably the best thing you can do if you have property and want to manage it for turkeys. That's the number one thing to do, because it really improves their nesting habitat, improves their brooding habitat. The little weeds that pop up after a burn are great for insect production for poults in the summer. And, we do on some of our areas, we try not to, but, some of the federal lands too, there's prescribed burnings going on during turkey season. And these spring burns, we've done some research down in South Georgia, and other states have too, that looking at these nests and tracking them, and they found that they aren't really, that a few nests will get burned up, but the turkeys are really good about re-nesting. They'll readily re-nest, and basically the benefits from the burn outweigh any chance of burning up the turkey nest. So it's better to get the burns in when you can, even if that's later in the spring.
Good explanation. Let's see, it's 31 after the hour. Let's talk now to Bill is calling from Powder Springs, Georgia. Good morning, Bill. You're on O'Neill Outside. Welcome.
Good morning, O'Neill. Thanks for taking my call. I got a quick question for you. Now, I've gone turkey hunting a few times in the past. I've never been lucky enough to get one. I'm hoping to change that this year. The piece of property that I'm going to hunt, I know the people that lease that property, they have deer feeders that they keep full of feed all year long. Now, I know there was a question earlier about hunting over bait, but, that was a naturally occurring agricultural deal. I know this is something different. Would I have to make sure that those feeders are empty or turned off, or how do I make sure I'm doing this the legal way?
Let's get Shane to comment on that again, please.
So we have a 10-day period in Georgia, meaning that any bait or grain or anything has to be removed 10 days prior to hunting. So you could remove it 10 days prior to your hunt, or just stay out of sight and at least 200 yards away from those feeders.
Okay.
It's simple.
All right. Well,
that's simple enough, wasn't it?
That sure was. Thank you.
You bet. All right. Be safe. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
You bet. When that eastern gobbles, we need all the luck we can get. Let's get to a hunting question. All right, from either one of you, both. What's the biggest mistake turkey hunters make that ruins the hunt?
I would say two things. Number one being that they can't sit still, and I have that problem. I can't sit still. And then, especially in the mountains, they call too much. If he's gobbling and coming to you, it's best just to be quiet.
Just shut up.
Just shut up.
That's right. The worst calling I ever heard came from a hen.
I had a buddy that's a big turkey hunter say that, he called all morning, couldn't get a response, and his 6 or 7 year old son says, "Let me play with that." He says, "Making the god awfulest rackets you ever seen," and here comes the gobbler wide open.
Oh yeah, you fly running over there.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's the big. We fall in love with the sound of our calls. To me, you call more than 3 times, it's a waste.
Can be.
The only thing I might change that I've seen it done is that you might turn your back and call into a different direction, which may influence the gobbler to think she's leaving.
It could, and the other part is if you call too much, it's unnatural, and then he can pinpoint your location. So the more you call, the more he knows exactly where you're at.
You call 3 times, he's got you.
He's looking for you.
Yeah, he's got you zeroed. My favorite turkey hunter, again, I had mentioned it in the first hour, is Roscoe Reams. He's the best turkey hunter I ever knew, and he never ever called more than 3 times. But it was a great demonstration the last time I hunted with Roscoe. He heard a gobble and he leaned over to me. We weren't in a blind. We just stacked up some pine limbs in front of us, and he said, "He's on the limb." Gobbled a second time. 10 minutes. He whispered to me, "He's on the ground." Called one more time. That was it. Turkey came right in. That was a great demo for me. And let's see if I've got time. I do have time for this. Here's a lesson in life. I know I'm supposed to be getting information from you guys, but here's a lesson in life. We were doing a television show, and Travis was hosting the show that day, and he asked Roscoe. I thought this was beautiful. He asked Roscoe, "What's the most important part of the hunt? Scouting, calling, camo, movement, shot placement. What's the most important?" And Roscoe's answer, full of so much wisdom, was, "Whatever it is that you're doing is the most important part of the hunt."
That's good.
Yes, that was good, wasn't it?
That's good.
Yeah, that was good. Roscoe Reams needs to be a part of my next book.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was absolutely one of a kind. Okay, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Across the country on the SB Nation Radio Network, WSB AM and FM, and we do this every Saturday morning. This is not once in a lifetime, but twice a year. We will have guests from the Department of Natural Resources, and with the upstart of the turkey season, that's our subject matter today. So, call if you like, listen if you like, and you can watch the program beginning on Monday on YouTube or thereabouts. This is O'Neill. More headed your way when we return. Welcome back, everyone. 40 after the hour. We're with Emily Rushton today and Shane Brown. And so let's answer a question that came through on the Facebook page at O'Neill Outside.
Okay. The question is strutting in mid-January, is that normal?
Oh, yep. The gobblers will strut and gobble, year-round. They have a pecking order, and they're just establishing dominance, and they want to be the dominant gobbler of the group. So that's, totally normal.
Mm-hmm. He's just part of the community. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Part of it. Now, in off-season prior to the breeding season beginning, after the photo period indicates it should begin, are the gobblers generally in bachelor groups like deer? Are they just the drove?
No, when breeding season starts, that's more when the groups break up, their winter flocks break up, and the gobblers will go off on their own and try to find as many hens as they can.
Okay, so it's opposite of deer season. Deer season, the bucks are in off breeding season before the rut. The bucks are off by themselves in bachelor groups. Is that right? Am I correct in that?
A lot of times they are.
Yeah, they are. Okay.
Because male species, because they're hunted, have evolved into being a little more cautious.
I see.
So two bucks are more likely to see danger versus just one. That's why they like to travel together.
Okay, it's always a mystery to me how a white-tailed deer is a breeding animal. He's a herder, but you see so many of them by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that is we just don't see the other ones that are with
them. And that's very true. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, in the mountains here, a lot of times a mature buck will follow the turkeys because he knows the turkeys have the best eyes and ears in the woods.
That's a good observation and probably correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think so. That would be the safest of all to follow along with.
Sure would.
The eastern, the Rio's guaranteed to die. Did we get to this, Emily? What makes up the North American Slam? Did we talk about that?
We've got the eastern, of course, the Osceola down in the Central Florida, mm-hmm. and further south, Merriam's, Gould's, and Rio's.
Right, those 5. I have a friend who's gone now, and his name was Dick Kirby. He was the fellow that came up with the Quaker Boy game call, okay, one of the most famous. Interesting, I think these things are interesting. He was a barber, but he had a natural talent that he could call turkeys without a mouth call. He's one of those guys, okay? And over his lifetime, after being in the profession of a turkey call maker, over his lifetime he had 60 Grand Slams.
Wow.
Wow is right. Well, you hunt every day,
right?
All over the world. So all over the United States. The most mysterious one to me is the what do you call that one in Latin America? I'm sorry,
the oscillated.
Oscillated.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't gobble.
No, he's no. They're interesting. They're sort of more like peafowl or peacocks, especially with how colorful they are too. Mm-hmm. They're the only, because they're a totally different species.
Mm-hmm. Well, he sort of, I guess, for want of a better term, he might just whistle. You might refer him. He whistles or sings. Mm-hmm. He doesn't gobble, and you shoot him off the limb too, don't you? I think so.
That I'm not sure of, but I'll take your word for it.
You shoot him off the limb. He's an ugly critter, I'm telling you. He looks like he's painted in watercolors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see him sometimes at the shows. So, if you're an avid turkey hunter, you want to know more about turkey hunting, you want to be a better turkey hunter, and we belong to the Wildlife Federation, but nevertheless, the hunter can avail himself of turkey shows, the Wild Turkey Federation trade show and everything. He'll learn a lot, won't he?
And the biggest thing, like Emily was talking about, is some of the guys have been hunting 20 or 30 years. Go sit down at the table with them and talk, because those guys were hunting before trail cams and before all modern technology, so they had to learn the turkey signs. They know where the turkey roosts, how he behaves on the roost, when he hits the ground, and all that stuff, versus, hey, I put a camera out over my feeder and saw 2 gobblers.
Yeah, right. Well, in the case of Roscoe Reams, he started hunting turkeys in the late 40s. And Tom Kelly, another author that I referred to earlier, he started hunting turkeys in the 40s. It's funny that in Tom Kelly, he says, I don't hunt turkeys because I want to. I hunt them because I have to. He's a marvelous author. So that's Tom Kelly's books and Roscoe Reams. Roscoe was on the Steve Allen Show and other television shows. He was a longbow archer, and I have actually seen him with a longbow toss a golf ball in the air and hit it. Pardon me, a ping pong ball. Throw a ping pong ball up and hit it with an arrow with a longbow.
That's really impressive.
People can tell I liked Roscoe a lot. Okay, 46 after the hour. We have a few more minutes with our visitors. I hope you'll join us, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255, and on Facebook. And the purpose of the program today, if you take the time to listen or watch, is after it's over, you should say, I didn't know that. I've got to try that next time, or I have to keep that in mind to be legal and to make the most out of the hunt. This is O'Neill. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. 57 after the hour. Let's get one more caller in if we can. Here's John, and John is calling from, I can't read it. John, welcome to the program.
Good morning. My son, Cade Holbrook, and I are headed down to enjoy this early hunt.
Good.
And 2 years ago, my daughter was able to get one. So I think it's a great idea. And even after my kids get grown, I'll be borrowing kids to go this early.
Good for you.
It's just I love to call. I hadn't pulled the trigger in probably 8 years, but I've been responsible for many a heartbeat since then. But I think it's just a great idea, and I just want to say I appreciate the DNR coming up with stuff to get kids involved.
Good. It was a good idea.
Yes, great idea.
Because I got to tell you that turkey hunting for a youngster will last a lot longer than playing football in high school.
Well, and my kids enjoy it a little more than deer hunting because it's Georgia boy elk hunting. You get to hear them calling and answering, and you know they're coming.
You bet. It's a good observation. You're right. It's an exciting hunt. And thanks for calling. Good luck to you today.
Thank you.
You bet. See you soon. There you go. There's a fellow with a youngster that's going to enjoy the morning.
That's awesome. That's the name of the game, getting the kids out of the house.
You bet. It lasts a whole lot longer. Shane, Emily, thank you very much for getting up so early and coming in here and sharing the information, your expertise, and your daily activities. It meant a lot to me, to Woman Williams, and to my audience. So I thank you very, very much. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources that supports my television show and our radio program. Very, very much. I always learn a lot, and I do, and so does the audience during your visit. So I thank you very, very much.
Thank you. We enjoyed it.
It's been fun. Okay?
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has.
My two favorite days of the year is when you all come visit with us.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks. All right, everyone, that's about it. We're headed out, and if I can pass along anything, the following may or may not be a surprise. If you're too busy to go fishing and take a kid along, you're too busy. And I'll see you guys next week.
once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill outside on my radio. O'Neill, O'Neill, O'Neill outside.